Welcome to KZGN-TV News. Today we begin with national stories that have deeply saddened our nation. We'll cover the agenda for Wednesday's City Council meeting and news on the upcoming Ridgecrest Republican Women's Luncheon. We have news from the Kern County Fire Department and more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake. This is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tanya Pyle, and I'll start with news when Orlando went into emergency mode and where hundreds of people lined up for blocks to give blood after 49 were reported killed and 53 injured at an Orlando nightclub. The lone gunman, identified as Omar Mateen, was reportedly organized and well prepared when between 2 and 5 a.m. he attacked Orlando nightclub The Pulse. Police and ambulances were called to the scene where victims were reported to be falling like dominoes. It is reported 300 people were inside the club at the time of the attack. Victims were rushed to Central Florida's trauma hospital. The gunman was shot dead by SWAT team members where over 30 hostages were rescued. For an update of victim names released, visit cityoforlando.net/victims. Following this now deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, Orlando Police Chief John Minus sent everyone in his police department an email telling them how proud he was and telling them to, quote, hug your family. His email read, quote, the darkest day of my 25 years at the Orlando Police Department, I wanted to take a moment to tell all of you how proud I am of the work you've done today and will do over the next days and weeks. Quote, we've trained again and again for this type of situation. It's unfortunate we had to put those skills to use today. But because of that training and your professionalism, we saved dozens of lives this morning. Even before first patrol units arrived on the scene, an Orlando Police Department officer working extra duty at the club engaged the gunman as he opened fire. Our first responders and SWAT team faced a hail of gunfire as they rescued hostages, and we are blessed beyond words that none of them were gravely injured or killed. We've received an enormous amount of tactical law enforcement support from local, state, and federal agencies, Mina continued. The outpouring we have received from our Central Florida community and law enforcement across the nation and the world has overwhelmed me with gratitude. He continued, I know you have all been affected today by the tragic actions of a lone terrorist who cut short the lives of so many. Our community, our city, and our department will be grieving in the days, weeks, and months to come. But on a day like today and every day, Chief Mina concluded, quote, I couldn't be more proud to be your chief. Please hug your families tonight and be safe out there. This morning, President Obama said, quote, it appears Mateen was inspired by extremist information disseminated over the internet, and said, quote, the FBI followed proper procedure. In other tragic news coming out of Orlando, 22-year-old Christina Grimmie, recognized for her performance on The Voice, was shot and killed Friday after her concert in Orlando. Grimmie and the band Before You Exit were signing autographs at 10 p.m. after their concert at Orlando's Plaza Live Theater when a suspect walked up and shot the vocalist. After being shot, Grimmie's brother tackled the gunman to the ground when the gunman fatally shot himself. The suspect has been identified as 27-year-old Kevin James Loibel of St. Petersburg, Florida. Loibel is reported to have 2 handguns in his possession at the time of the shooting. St. Petersburg Police Department spokesman Rick Shaw said, quote, there was nothing that would stand out or raise suspicions that he would do something like this. Shaw said Loibel was in the system, but for minor infractions such as petty theft, a minor battery incident in which Loibel was the victim, and a 2008 car accident. Leubel was once suspected of aggravated battery, but no charges were filed after the alleged victim said she couldn't remember the incident and then became uncooperative. The police database revealed Leubel had no prior arrests. According to Orlando Police Department Chief John Mina, quote, "The suspect traveled to Orlando apparently to commit this crime." Orlando Department Public Information Officer Wanda Miglio said during a press briefing, quote, "Her brother is a hero for saving and stopping him from not hurting anyone else." Grimmie was transported to a local hospital where she later died from critical injuries. Now, we at KZGN are passing along a favor being asked having to do with 18-year-old Haley Sorensen. Haley is described by her cousin as, quote, "a beautiful young woman, both inside and out, who will always have the mind of a child." She said, "She lights up a room with her smile. She's funny, sweet, caring, smart, athletic, a jigsaw puzzle champion, and a wonderful student, described as a best friend to all." Her cousin also said Haley happened to be a person who happens to have autism, but said Haley has never let that small detail define who she is as a person. A fun fact is Haley's 19th birthday is fast approaching, and her cousin shared a picture of Haley at her 18th birthday last year. At that time, invitations were extended to all her classmates and friends. The party was set at the bowling alley where Haley wanted to bowl and eat cake and ice cream with her friends. Haley sat all alone at her party. Her friends would never arrive. This year, Haley's cousin took to Facebook to ask people everywhere to make this an incredible birthday for Haley. She shared that Haley loves getting mail and said, quote, "I would love to flood her mailbox with birthday cards from all over. This would be the best birthday gift she could ask." Haley's loving cousin has asked people to please find it in your heart to take a few minutes out of your day to send Haley a card. Her cousin said, quote, she would be forever grateful, and said, quote, this would mean a lot to her mother as well. I have a hunch a few Ridgecrest and Indian Wells Valley KZGN viewers will want Haley to have an incredible 19th birthday. So I'm sharing her address with you. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. Here you go. You can send your card to Haley Sorensen at 34 Wellesley Way, Bangor, Maine, 04401. Please help make Haley's 19th birthday a memory Haley will never want to forget. Stay tuned for news about Ridgecrest Republican Women Federated when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Ridgecrest Republican Women Federated Program Director Marlene Tracy provided KZGN with details of their upcoming June luncheon Friday, June 17th in the banquet room of the Clarion Inn from 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. Tracy booked Tim Trazer as their guest speaker to share about the 10 years he lived in China. She said, quote, this will be an interesting look into the life in China. The cost of the luncheon will be $15 and reservations are required. Please make your reservations by calling 760-463-1272. This third week of June is full of meetings. Coming up this third Wednesday of the month, City Council Mayor Peggy Breeden with Mayor Pro Tem James Sanders, Vice Mayor Lori Acton, and Council members Eddie Thomas and Mike Maurer will have a closed session beginning 5:30, followed by a regular session beginning 6 p.m. On their closed session agenda are negotiations for sale of business park lots, negotiation for lease or purchase of Leroy Jackson Park, and negotiation for real property acquisitions. Following the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation with reports from our city attorney on the closed session. The regular meeting will begin a full agenda starting with recognition honoring police dispatcher Sharon Homer on her retirement. Congratulations, Sharon. Consent calendar proposed actions for approval begin with construction on Drummond for realignment and widening, construction on Bowman Road and China Lake Boulevard for rehabilitation and resurfacing, professional construction management services of Street Improvement and Project Authority to execute the agreement, professional construction management services for the Gateway Boulevard project and authority to execute the agreement, professional construction management services for the Richmond Bike Path project and authority to execute agreement. There will be public hearing process on proposed annexation to existing Ridgecrest landscaping and lighting district, and a proposed hearing process on formation of a drainage benefit assessment district. Scheduled for discussion and other action items include proposed action to nominate and appoint a new member to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission, budget hearing on fiscal year ending 2016-17, establishing appropriations, estimating revenues, and on policies for amending the budget, followed by a proposed approval action. Finally, there will be reports from the Services, Infrastructure, and Ad hoc Water Conservation Committees. And also reporting will be the Parks and Recreation Quality of Life Committee, Ad hoc Youth Advisory Committee, Community Talents and Interventions for Optimal Neighborhood Task Force, and Ridgecrest Area Convention and Visitor Bureau. Finally will be a report from the city manager, followed by comments from the mayor and council members. This in from Kern County Fire Department. Just after 9:30 a.m. Friday, Kern County Fire Department received a call on an explosion on the 4th floor in the generator area at the Edmonston Pumping Plant at the 3900 block of Edmonston Pumping Plant Road near Lebec. A structure response was started. Employees evacuated prior to arrival of fire crews. The first arriving crew encountered alarms sounding in the facility and the possibility of smoke and carbon monoxide. USAR 52 and USAR 61 were started as rapid intervention crews assisted in the search. Fire crews initiated a search of the facility, and it was determined all employees were evacuated. There was no active fire. Firefighters remained on the scene using 4 gas detectors for approximately 2 hours to make certain the building was clear of carbon monoxide. The plant was turned back over to the manager after the facility was cleared. There were no injuries reported. Value of property saved is estimated at $1 billion. Hopefully you took advantage of the opportunity to see Christian Home Educators' Ridgecrest production of Pollyanna. Performances were Thursday and Friday evening and concluded with a Saturday matinee, all at Ridgecrest Calvary Assembly, 800 West Upjohn Avenue. CHER drama director Heather Weaver's cast was in dress rehearsal when I stopped by Thursday morning before their first performance. As I walked in trying to remember the storyline of Pollyanna, Heather Weaver called out, "Back to the Harringtons," as the cast took action to switch from one set to another. Gentle, careful, can't break it today, to the upbeat tune of Chattanooga Choo Choo. 1 minute, Weaver clocked them, saying, "Good job," and called action. Suddenly, we were in the Victorian parlor of Mrs. Polly Harrington. Then another fluid set switched out to a jazzy rendition of When the Saints Go Marching In, when Pollyanna endeavored to teach Mrs. Snow the glad game, based on the principle, there's purpose in everything. The cast moved set to sounds from Tea for Two and It Had to Be You, and Pollyanna proceeded to goad everyone she met into the glad game. Then it happened, the accident. In this case, Pollyanna didn't fall out of a tree, the only thing I remembered from my childhood rendition of the story, but in this production, she was hit by a car. Now it seemed everyone whose life was touched by Pollyanna's glad game wanted to come and share the wonder the glad game had worked in their lives. Sure enough, Pollyanna embraced the glad game, and her life again was touched with the miraculous. As I worked to capture a picture to share with you, I was clued in to the fact, although they were in full costume, their hair wouldn't be in time period place until their first performance. Lead performers were Amy Ertl as Pollyanna, Amy Voigt as Mrs. Polly Harrington, Holly Hill as Nancy, and Dylan Menzel as Mr. John Pendleton. To everyone involved, I loved it. You had me at Chattanooga Choo Choo. Gas prices have been going consistently upwards in Ridgecrest, so let's see how we compare to some of our surrounding areas, beginning with Bishop. One station low at $2.89 per gallon, with their highest gas price at $3.09. LA Valley gas prices start as low as $2.59, with their highest station at $3.33 per gallon. The Lancaster low came in at $2.65, and their highest gas priced at $3.05 per gallon. As of this morning, our Ridgecrest gas prices compared with one station as low as $2.59 per gallon and three stations at a high of $2.89 per gallon. You not only do your wallet a favor when you buy gas locally, you put those dollars toward paving our local roads. Stay tuned for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Lane for the weather.
Thank you, Tanya. From the National Weather Service, severe thunderstorms containing large hail, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes will be possible each afternoon and evening into midweek over portions of the central and northern high plains. Heavy downpours may also lead to localized flooding concerns. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 76, Georgia at 95, Arkansas at 78, northern Texas at 92, Arizona at 92, and Los Angeles at 68. And for us locally, tonight, clear with a low around 68, west-southwest wind, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 96, southwest wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 25. Tuesday night, clear with a low around 67, southwest wind, 15 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 30. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 91, southwest wind, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, clear with a low around 64, west-southwest wind, 15 to 25 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 30. Thursday, sunny with a high near 92, south-southwest wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 15. Thursday night, clear with a low around 64, west wind, 15 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 25. And Friday, sunny with a high near 95, west wind, 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tanya.
Thanks, Lane. Now to Tom Heck for sports.
And a very pleasant early Monday evening. Let's start with the NBA. In just a little bit, it'll be game number 5 of the NBA playoffs, and Steve Kerr and his Golden State Warriors hoping to clinch things. They have a 3-1 lead. Now, Draymond Green will not play in this game. He has been suspended because of a slight altercation with LeBron James. So the Golden State will be without him, but the way Golden State is defending and shooting right now, don't know if that's going to make a big difference. So Cavaliers don't win tonight, it's all over. It'll be back-to-back championships for Golden State, both times against Cleveland. Now, let's talk about Major League Baseball. The Chicago Cubs are now 44 wins, 19 losses. It's their best start since 1918. That's 1918, before most of us were born. And Jake Arrieta, their great right-hander, got his 10th win over the weekend. The Cubs took 2 of 3 from Atlanta, and they lead that Central by 8 games. All right, the Angels lose 2 of 3 to Cleveland. The Angels lose on Sunday 8-3. The Angels find themselves starting on this Monday 12 games out of first place behind the Texas Rangers. The Angels will host the Twins for 3 games starting tonight in Anaheim. This weekend, the Angels will take on the Oakland Athletics up in Oakland. All right, other interesting things over the weekend. Detroit takes 2 of 3 from the Yankees. Adam Kinsler, another home run on Sunday. Kansas City gets back on the winning streak. They had lost 8 games straight, their longest streak in 5 years. They take 2 of 3 from the reeling White Sox. The White Sox now under 500. Milwaukee takes 2 of 3 from the Mets. The Brewers are scrappy. The Nationals take 2 of 3 from Philadelphia, and the Nationals leading the National League East. The A's snap an 8-game losing streak. They salvage a game on Sunday against the Reds, and Toronto sweeps Baltimore. On Sunday, they win 10-9. They outlast Baltimore. All right, over in the National League, Arizona defeats the Marlins 2 out of 3 games this weekend. Arizona playing a lot better. Colorado does the same thing to San Diego, and can't forget about the Minnesota Twins, a team that's playing the Angels tonight. They beat the Red Sox on Sunday to salvage one of those 3 games. College Baseball World Series coming up this weekend. To get there, though, you've got to win your Super Regional. And the underdogs are out in force. University of Arizona defeats Mississippi State, the number 6 overall team. U of A was 3rd in the Pac-12 this year. They win 6-5 on Saturday. They win 2 games in a row. They have a walk-off 9th-inning base hit by Cesar Salazar, the freshman, and they go on to Wichita starting next Friday. Also, Texas A&M and TCU battling tonight for game number 3. Texas Tech beat East Carolina after losing the first game. In the second game, it went 13 innings. East Carolina had all kinds of chance to upset the number 5 team, but Texas Tech came back Saturday in 13 innings. They win on Sunday. Boston College gave Miami a couple good games, but they ended up losing in 3 games against the Hurricanes, who are the number overall 3 seed. The number 1 seed, Florida, is playing Florida State tonight. Game 2 is rained out in Gainesville on Sunday. And who could forget also that last year, the Big West, which is part of the California schools, it was Cal State Fullerton that beat Louisville last year, who was at that time number 1 in all the land. And this year, they do it again, the Big West. They come up with a big win there to go on. Mississippi State also cruises. They'll go into the Wichita for the World Series next week. That's your sports for this Monday night. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
Thank you for tuning in to KZGN-TV News, the only station committed to issues and interests specific to Ridgecrest, China Lake, and the Indian Wells Valley.